The 1996-97 Spurs were circling the drain. David Robinson's broken foot kept him out. Sean Elliott's knee flared. And a 3-15 start got popular coach Bob Hill fired in a late-night power grab that left San Antonio talk radio screaming, tanking.
Coach Popovich is not the Spurs. He's the NBA.
Greg Popovich, then general manager, appointed himself head coach, braced for booze, and watched the roster limp to 20 wins. Yet disaster delivered opportunity. The lottery balls bounced black and silver, handing the Spurs the #1 pick in the 1997 draft.
A lot of other people say Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward to ever play the game. I agree with that.
And with it a soft-spoken, 6'11" physics major named Tim Duncan. Popovich still wanted proof that Duncan was a cultural match, so he boarded a plane to St. Croix and spent 3 sun-bleached days swimming, grilling fish, and talking family and priorities. Anything but basketball. By the time they dried off, Pop had his cornerstone, and Duncan had a coach he could trust. Duncan arrived like a gentle tsunami, 21-12-2.5 on 55% shooting, All-NBA First Team, Rookie of the Year, and a league record 36-win turnaround to 56-26. Still, Utah's seasoned pick and roll sent the new duo home in round 2, exposing a need for perimeter snipers. Popovich responded by luring Mario Elie and Steve Kerr, veterans who knew how to punish double teams, to flank the Twin Towers. Then came the 1999 lockout sprint. San Antonio stormed to an NBA best 37-13, lost only once before the finals, and suffocated the 8th seed Knicks 4-1. Duncan averaged 27-14 and pocketed his first finals MVP, while Pop wrapped an arm around a gutted Jeff Van Gundy and whispered the line that still echoes in coaching lore, "I've got Tim, and you don't." Popovich had his superstar, his system, and his first ring, but he wanted more than a single generational talent. Next, he would scour the globe for overlooked geniuses who could learn the Spurs way and keep Duncan company for a decade. Greg Popovich could read a scouting report the way a codebreaker reads ciphers, and he saw something most of the league flat out ignored. Brainpower travels cheaper than vertical leap. So while big market teams chase name brands, Pop and general manager R.C. Buford packed passports. First stop, Paris, 2001. A wiry teenager named Tony Parker slices through a Spurs workout so fast Kerr can't find the ball. But Pop isn't sold, yet. He orders a second, full-speed scrimmage that same night. Parker torches the vets again, offers a polite merci, and flies home. The draft board says 28th. The front office says reach.
The San Antonio Spurs select Tony Parker of Racing Club Paris.
In Italy, Emmanuel Ginobili, man bun, elbows everywhere, plays with GPS-defying angles that make coaches dizzy. Scouts label him reckless. Pop labels him uncontrollable in the best way. He slips to pick 57, stashes overseas, returns 3 years later with EuroLeague titles, an Olympic silver, and the swagger of a street magician. Then comes Bruce Bowen, undrafted, 30 years old, and one suitcase away from quitting the sport. Pop watches 10 minutes of tape. There's no crossover, no step back, just 94 feet of misery for whoever he guards. Perfect, Pop grins. He doesn't want the ball anyway. Bowen signs on a bargain and becomes the prototype 3 and D wing before the term even exists. Hidden advantages stack up. Chip England builds a shooting laboratory out of nothing more than foam pads and repetition. Parker's floater, Ginobili's corner 3, Bowen's coffin corner dagger, all forged there. San Antonio's payroll stays lean, egos stay smaller. The win column keeps swelling. From 2003 to 2007, the team lifts 3 trophies with a core assembled at picks 28, 57, and nobody. But hoarding undervalued talent is only half the puzzle. To unleash this global mix, 1 part French lightning, 1 part Argentine chaos, 1 part defensive sandpaper, Popovich will have to tear up his own playbook and rewire the Spurs' identity. And that reinvention is exactly where the story turns next. 3 from grit and grind to the beautiful game. Greg Popovich's early Spurs won like a sledgehammer. Twin Towers planted in the paint, elbows out, scores in the 80s, critics yawning. The formula bullied opponents into mud, but it also ground down Tim Duncan's knees and the fan base's patience. Pop read the warning lights. If San Antonio was going to outlast Father Time, it needed more oxygen and a lot more space. So he started by stealing minutes from his own stars. On November 29, 2012, national TV, Miami in prime time. Pop put Duncan, Parker, Ginobili, and Danny Green on a commercial flight home, sent out the junior varsity, and dared Commissioner David Stern to blink. The NBA detonated a $250,000 fine, calling the move a disservice to the league, but Pop got what he wanted. Fresh legs in April and a clear message that player health trumped public optics. Meanwhile, the playbook was undergoing surgery. Post-ups shrank. Corners stretched. Boris Diaw became a 6-foot 8-point guard. Manu tossed helium passes through microscopic windows, and every swing extra pass turned the court into a carousel. By 2014, the Spurs led the league in passes per possession, shot a blistering 57% from the field and 47% beyond the arc in the finals, and shredded LeBron's Heat by a combined 70 points in Games 3 and 4. Commentators who once called them boring now whispered masterpiece. Popovich had reinvented his dynasty without changing its soul. Discipline wrapped in generosity, structure expressed as jazz. Yet even the prettiest music can hide a sour note, and under the metronomic ball movement a hairline crack was spreading. One sprained ankle, one silent superstar, and the very culture he'd spent decades perfecting was about to be tested. But that reckoning would arrive sooner and louder than anyone in San Antonio expected. For the Kawhi rift, Popovich's beautiful game hit a jagged edge on May 14, 2017. Game 1 of the West Finals, Spurs by 25 in Oracle, and Kawhi Leonard is cooking Golden State until center Zaza Pachulia slides a size 17 boot into his landing space. Leonard lands, ankle twists, and the dynasty's pulse flatlines in real time. He limps off, the Warriors erase the lead, sweep the series, and a shaky franchise fault line splits wide open. The summer diagnosis reads right thigh tendinopathy, a deep quad injury the team labels routine. Leonard's camp isn't buying it. Rehab stalls, pain lingers, and by October the Spurs announce their star has no timetable to return. Popovich keeps the updates vague. Kawhi's circle keeps them private. The NBA's most transparent culture suddenly feels like Fort Knox. January 2018. Only 9 games played, still no green light from Leonard's personal doctors. Teammates call a players-only meeting. Manu Ginobili later says they begged Kawhi to suit up, but Leonard stares at the floor and says nothing. Trust evaporates. Whispers multiply. By spring the silence is deafening. Leonard rehabs in New York, skips home games, and communicates with the club almost exclusively through an agent. When Popovich tells reporters he'd be surprised if Kawhi returns that season, the Spurs lose their silent superstar. Leonard gains a fresh start that soon delivers another ring, somewhere else. And back in San Antonio, the organization built on harmony has to navigate life without its heir apparent. But Kawhi's exit was only the first tremor. The real earthquake, the moment that threatened both mastermind and megastar, was waiting just ahead. 5 earthquake season. Pop falls. Wemby sits. The tremor hit on November 2, 2024. 5 games into year 29, Greg Popovich collapsed in a back hallway of Frost Bank Center. Diagnosis: a mild stroke. Doctors acted fast. But the 76-year-old architect of the Spurs Way was suddenly a spectator in sweats, learning to grip a coffee mug all over again. Assistant Mitch Johnson grabbed the clipboard, guided San Antonio through 77 turbulent nights, and, after the NBA's bookkeeping panel reassigned those games, opened his own coaching ledger at 32-45 while Pop's record froze at 1,390 wins, still #1 all-time. Popovich vowed he'd be back, or at least around, but in late May he stepped to a microphone, voice thinner than fans remembered, and announced he was done pacing sidelines. The league's most relentless taskmaster traded film sessions for cardiology checkups, promising to mentor from the balcony and let the next generation yell at referees. February 20, 2025. Victor Wembanyama, basketball's 7'4" unicorn, woke with a numb shooting arm. Tests revealed deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder, a rare blood clot doctors called potentially life-threatening if ignored. The Spurs shut him down for the season on the spot. No rehab timeline, no guarantees, just a lanky 21-year-old shrugging on a sling and promising, "I'll be back when the med staff says I'm really back." Across South Texas, the whispers snowballed. Is this the curse of losing Kawhi? Did Pop take the magic with him? Attendance dipped, hashtags trended, and talk radio hosts rehearsed relocation rants. Yet behind closed doors, the front office plotted something bold. An all-in gamble that would cost $250 million and decide whether the Dynasty's sequel ever reaches opening night. And that high-stakes roll of the dice is exactly where we head next. San Antonio's response to the twin shocks of Pop's stroke and Wemby's blood clot came with the subtlety of a San Antonio thunderclap. On February 5, 2025, the Spurs front office hijacked the trade deadline, wiring a 7-player, 7-pick blockbuster that landed De'Aaron Fox, the league's fastest end-to-end blur, next to a sideline but still franchise-sized Victor Wembanyama. Sacramento got a fresh start, Chicago grabbed expiring contracts, and the Spurs pocketed a 26-year-old all-star who'd quietly told his agent there was San Antonio or nowhere. The thrill lasted all of 12 hours before cap gurus pointed to the fine print. Fox becomes extension eligible on August 3rd for 4 years, $229 million. An eye-watering commitment that would tie nearly half the salary cap to a guard whose jet fuel game leans on ankle ligaments and breakneck cuts. Bobby Marks ran the math on ESPN. Even a shorter, 3-year bridge still costs $140 million. Great fit, terrifying invoice, he joked. While accountants sharpened pencils, the draft lottery ping-ponged another miracle. The Spurs leapt to number 2 and scooped Dylan Harper, a slashing, 6'7" playmaker scouts compared to a left-handed Jaylen Brown with better vision. Local pundits all but sprained vocal cords labeling Harper the third cornerstone, beside Wemby and Fox. But 3 cornerstones still need a house, and that house, according to owner Peter J. Holt, must be a $1.5 billion downtown arena nicknamed Project Marvel. Holt's pitch: keep the team competitive, keep the team in San Antonio. His ask: roughly $175 million in city and county tax revenue, plus state incentives. Fans hear public funding, opponents hear billionaire bailout, and every city council session feels one hashtag away from torch and pitchfork theater. The Fox extension, the Harper rookie scale, the Marvel Arena vote, now hangs in midair while Wembanyama rehabs nerve endings in a quiet gym. In 1997, a lottery miracle delivered Tim Duncan and turned a 20-win wreck into a perennial 50-win machine. Dylan Harper at number 2 could be chapter 1 of the sequel. Roadblocks no past Dynasty faced. A $229 million decision on Fox looms. Sign and the backcourt is set. Hesitate and the fastest engine in the league can bolt in July 2026. Wembanyama's shoulder clot needs a full green light from vascular specialists before he snatches another rebound. Fans remember how a single ankle turned Kawhi Leonard from heir apparent to one-season rental. 10 years from now, we're debating whether Spurs 2.0 outshines the original 5-ring run. Hesitation spiral. Public money dries up. Fox weighs options. Wemby's rehab drags. And a once boring model franchise becomes another cautionary headline about how quickly dynasties can dissolve. Popovich closed his retirement presser with a raspy grin. The Spurs way lives in whoever's willing to share the ball and share the blame. Over the next 14 months, extension window, arena vote, Wemby's medical clearance, we'll learn whether San Antonio still has enough shared belief to turn echoes of past glory into the soundtrack of its future. So when you look back in 2045, will this summer mark the greatest second act in NBA history? Or the moment the miracle machine finally sputtered out? That verdict is unwritten, just like the next season's first tip-off. Outro. The open-ended note. For 20-plus years, the Spurs showed the league that patience, selflessness, and a pinch of lottery luck could outmuscle any payroll sheet. Now, with Popovich upstairs, Wemby in rehab, and a $229 million pen hovering over De'Aaron Fox's contract, San Antonio faces a choice that echoes every triumph and misstep we just revisited. Will they double down on the culture that forged 5 banners, or gamble on shortcuts no dynasty has ever survived? Take a second and picture it: a packed downtown arena humming in 2035, silver and black confetti swirling around a grinning Wembanyama, or an empty practice court remembered only in highlight montages. Which future do you believe is more likely? Drop your prediction below, and if you want the next chapter as soon as it breaks, tap that subscribe. Because in the Spurs way, the final score is never the final word.